This week on Hatter or Lower, we are joined by yet another very special guest. A warm welcome to the podcast. A man who needs no introduction. I'm going to do one anyway. 439 appearances for Luton Town. Youth coach, podcaster, author, clothing designer. A man who always warmed up in a fluorescent hat. An all-round lovely bloke, Marvin Johnson. How are you getting on today, Marv?
I'm great, thanks, Ollie. 440, I believe. Not 439. 440. You can't just take one game away from me. That's a lot. That means a lot to me, that one game. 440. That's what I've been told.
Wait. So, I'm not counting the time you turned out at a charity match where you scored Liam George, bagged a hat trick.
Yeah, I don't count them. No, that is not a recognised fixture.
Really?
I totally agree.
Wow.
Totally agree.
Oh, well, Hatters Heritage has some answering to do, don't
Yes, they do. 440, I believe. I like that.
Proud of that.
That round number, yeah. That one game. I wish there was more, but yeah. I would have corrected you, by the way, even if you would have said 442. I'm an honest person. I would have said, no, actually, you've got to take two off, or it's 440. I would have corrected you no matter what.
Well, this is off to a great start, isn't it? Well, I'll say, if you love content from the Walk podcast, smash that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, get involved across all our socials. You can find it on the link tree. But Marv, 17 years at Luton Town as a player, so many memories. Are you going to correct me about the 17 years? You retired in 2003, right?
In my head, I'm thinking, I think you could be wrong. 15 years, I think it was.
No, it was 1986 when you signed pro terms, and you finished in 2003.
Was it really? I don't know why I've got in my head. I thought it was 15 years as a player and 7 years as a coach. Then I don't know. I thought it was 20 in total, 22 years. 15. You're probably right on that one. I'll give you that.
Well, I'll have to, take that to Hatters Heritage Towers. I'm meeting Roger Wash tonight, so I'll say to him, Roger, we got to sort this out on Hatters Heritage. But let's start at the beginning then.
Yes.
So you were a kid from Aylesbury. How did you get picked up by Luton, and what were the early years like?
Well, starting out, I mean, as any kid, I wanted to aspire to try and be a professional or try and play at some level where I felt I could compete with the very best. And as most kids, I mean, back then, you didn't have as many scouts as they are now, and the whole thing process, what they go through with clubs of identifying children. So I wrote to many clubs, as a kid, even though I lived in Aylesbury, which is just outside Oxfordshire, I was writing to Manchester United, all these clubs all around the country, and Arsenal and Tottenham, and I don't know if I actually wrote to Luton, which is funny enough, but I got the letters from the standard letter saying, hey, thank you for requesting, unfortunately at this time or whatever, we wish you all the best in the future, sort of thing. But I never got discouraged, and so started playing with a Sunday League team, and then this is as a younger age, running from I was about 7 or 8, and then stayed with that club, and we played a friendly against a Luton team one Sunday, and myself and another lad got chosen to come across and practice and train with the youth team for a little while on a sort of a trial basis.
Okay, I'm guessing the other lad that got picked up, he didn't progress like you did, right?
No, I mean, but the funny thing is I mentioned it in the book, is he was more, in my opinion, he was probably had a little bit more talent, I would say, than me. I mean,
that
he
happens,
was
though.
Yeah, he was a left winger, and I was more like a centre midfielder back then, and so he was very quick, very fast, could whip the ball in, and like I said, I mean, on the outset, you would have thought that he probably had all the attributes to go on and be successful, but he, after about, I'm not sure if it was about 3 or 4 weeks, then they just continued to ask me to come and train with the youth team, and from there it was a case where I didn't, again, nothing like it is today. You didn't sign literally like, I mean, I think you did have schoolboy forms, but I didn't sign schoolboy forms or anything like that. I basically was just training week in, week out with Luton, and then with the youth team, played in the youth team, and then basically got an apprenticeship offered to myself. Literally, I think probably only about 3-4 months. I think before I left school, sort of thing, and then that was it. That was the beginning of me, obviously being on the journey of becoming hopefully a professional player.
So when you eventually made that breakthrough into the first teams, as I mentioned earlier, and fortunately you haven't corrected me yet, 1986 when you signed professional terms. So David Pleat wasn't the manager at that point. Who was the manager?
He was.
Oh, and in 1986, he just left.
Did he like? Well, the funny thing is that I remember like when I got offered the professional contract, he was a manager because I had to go down, and then you're not gonna not remember having to have the conversation with the manager who's gonna say yes or no whether or not you're gonna get an opportunity to go on now as an apprentice. So it was David Pleat was definitely, he might have left by the time like the end of that year, but he was the one who offered me the contract when I had to go down to his office and speak one-on-one with him to have that conversation.
How was it working with David Pleat in that short time?
Oh, I loved it because like he was at the time I didn't know, but obviously now being in the game as long as what I have been now and understanding how it works, he was so like made sure he left no stone unturned. He came to, which is great, he came to watch the youth team games when we played, and he watched like even on a Saturday when they had a first team game at home. If we were playing at home in the morning, he would be there for at least the first half, which I doubt many managers would do now. And I'm sure he continued this throughout his career when he was a manager. He took an interest in the youth, which was huge, and I think massive, because again, from his point of view, I feel like if you want to be successful, I suppose long term, what he was as a manager, you want to know what's underneath your first team and what's coming through, and on where you need to maybe like plug in some holes where you might feel that you might not have to plug in some holes. So he was very, very astute in the way how he thought about the game.
So after David Pleat came Ray Harford, and obviously the 88 Cup win. You were there. You're in a few of the photos, like as part of the squad. Did a small part of you wish that you'd got a chance to step on the pitch and be a part of that day, lift the trophy?
I was still pretty young at 18. I played in quite a few games in the lead up to the final. So I played my part, which was great. I made my debut that year. Mal had picked up a niggling injury, and Mal was such a stalwart, such a warrior. And if Mal's not going to play, it's serious, because Mal didn't complain. Mal didn't say a single word. And so initially, maybe you can correct me this, Donaghy. I think it was that the year where we got to like 3 semi-finals and 2 finals. So there's a lot of games, and there wasn't that initial squad rotation. I think there was only 2 subs back then. There might have only been 2 subs back then, I think. But I made my debut in a tournament called the Simod Cup that year, when, like I said, Mal had picked up a niggling injury, and I think Ray Hartford, God bless him, he spoke to me. I was involved with the squad a lot back then. He spoke to me and said, look, we're going to be playing in the Simod Cup on I think it was a Tuesday or Thursday, I'm not sure what it was. And he said, look, you're going to play. I'm going to rest Mal, because obviously, we had league games. We'd been playing Arsenal and different other teams then. And he said, I'm going to rest Mal, and you're going to make your debut. So I knew before, and I think there was maybe 2 or 3 others who played, because like I said, it was a case where we had loads of games that year. And that first initial debut away at Goodison Park was I mean, a comfortable game because I mean we won, and obviously we got to the final in the end. So it was great that I managed to make my debut, and I think I don't know sure what the score was, maybe 2-0 or 2-1, but like, I mean, I played with Steve Foster, who is an absolute, like I said, legend. I mean, he was so easy to play alongside because, like I said, you know, he organised his talk, he's communicating with you all the time, and so I enjoyed my debut.
So I'm just looking up what your debut was and what the result was for your debut.
It's like 2-0 or 2-1. I know. I know. I definitely remember. I remember it was like. I mean, I'm sure it was 2-0 or 2-1.
So it was the full Members' Cup, which I believe was the Simon Cup. Do you remember who scored the goals that day? It was a 2-1 win.
Dave Oldfield.
Yeah.
And Kingsley? No.
No, it was David Oldfield with a brace.
I was going to say that. Damn, it was
Yeah.
Dave Oldfield with a brace. Yeah, Dave Oldfield. And then was it 2-1?
It was 2-1. Yeah.
Okay.
It was 2-1. And do you remember the back line that day?
I'd like.
Who did you play with? Who was across the back?
Steve Foster.
Yeah.
Did Ashley Grimes play?
He did. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know that. And then Rob Johnson.
No, Rob Johnson wasn't it? Yeah, Tim Breaker was there. Yeah.
And yeah, that is the back four. So yeah,
it was a very strong team. Like having a look at it, and this isn't the quiz, by the way.
No. But did Ricky play? Ricky play?
No, Ricky didn't play. I'll run through the lineup. Yeah. So it was Dibble, Breaker, Johnson, McAvoy, Foster, Allinson, Cobb, Gray, Paul Gray, not Phil Gray.
Yeah.
David Oldfield, Kingsley Black, Ashley Grimes.
Yes.
And then Richard Harvey came on as a sub.
Yeah.
What a team. Like looking at those names, that brings me on to my next point about youth development in the 80s, 90s. We'll talk about the early noughties a bit later. What was it like to be a part of such a talented group of youngsters? It was unprecedented at the time. Like the youth development conveyor belt at Luton was ridiculous in the late 80s and early 90s.
It was. I mean, the year I joined, I mean, it was a record. I think of apprentices. How many we had that year? I think we had something like 10 or something like that. I'm not sure who were coming into the staff, and obviously you have players like from the year before, like first years or whatever, like Ricky McAvoy, Dave Oldfield, Gary Cobb. You know what I mean, so you still had them players. So we were really, really strong coming in, and it was just. I mean, everyone now and then say to me, "Well, what was it like?" And I said, "You know what? It was like leaving school and basically just going into another different version of school because there were so many of us, and the banter and the laugh and the fun you had. It was just, I mean, this is without even kicking a ball. I'm thinking, wow, this is great. You know, the lads and stuff and everything like that. So it was just like a bigger version of school. But then on the flip side, you know, you don't. I mean, obviously, fast forward to today, and you know what the club's been through. You don't realise at the time. Well, I didn't realise at the time how fortunate I was to try and fulfill my dream of becoming a professional, but two, to be in the top league in one of the best leagues in the world. You know what I mean? It was a Division 1 back then, but like, you mean they had obviously gone down and they come back up in 82, was it 82 they came back? Was it 82 they won?
Yeah, 81, 82 season we got promoted.
We promoted, but then it was
82,
like
83.
Yeah, so like now 85 when I joined, I mean they've been 3 years and cemented themselves now in the Division 1, and so it is not the case where I say to people now where you were playing against Newcastle, Manchester City, Arsenal, and you're like swapping shirts because you mean you're on the same par of these players. You know, you're in that division. Whereas I'm sure now, I mean, not so much, maybe as much now. I mean, obviously they've had that year last year in the Premiership, but prior to that, I would have said players playing for Luton, if they played in the cup like against Liverpool, they're looking to swap shirts. Do you know what I mean? So it's really weird, and I'm very fortunate that at the time when I were playing and played quite a few games, that we were on par and on level with those big teams, or those big guns as you call it, even though we were a smaller club.
And you were in the top division, but towards the the turn of the 90s and then throughout the 90s, it was a very tough time at Luton Town. There were 3 administrations in the space of, well, even after your time at the club, 3 administrations in a decade. But you were a part of 3 relegations and 1 promotion. Like, did it ever get to the point where you were thinking, "Oh my God, I'm cursed. What's happening here?"
No. I mean, you know what? I just enjoyed playing. I just loved playing. I loved competing. I just loved. I mean, obviously being at the club for as long as I had. I mean, 1, I mean, I enjoyed it. 2, again, very fortunate that the managers that came in must have liked me to a certain extent. Otherwise, I mean, I wouldn't have been there that long, because there was many managers who came in throughout my years being there. So I think it was a bit of both. That, I mean, I'm not really a negative person. I'm always flipping it, and I'm being positive. And like, yes, the relegations were not nice, but like at the same time, you're always thinking, okay, can we bounce back? Can we now come back up?
There are so many managers you mentioned there. What was it like playing under Ricky Hill? Because obviously you played alongside him, and then he was your manager,
Right.
like just before the turn of the millennium.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was a bit of both. Like, I mean, obviously, I mean, he's the best player I've played with, without a shadow of a doubt, at Luton Town. I mean, I'll go out on record and say that. So you want to, obviously, once he becomes manager, you want to try and make sure that you give the best for him. But I was coming towards like really the back end of my career, where I was hindered with a lot of injuries, and so it was a case where Ricky probably didn't get the best out of me. I don't know how many games I played for him, but like it was tough for him, because obviously it was a case where like a lot of the squad was like still quite young. You know what I mean? There wasn't that many senior players who were there to like. I mean, 'cause a lot of the time now, senior players are the ones who run the dressing room. Going back to the time when I was now making my my debut and playing, you just went through the team. You had like Steve Foster, Ashley Grimes, Ricky Hill. You have men, right, and not being disrespectful. And I mean, it was tough for Ricky, because there was like not so many men, probably more boys in that aspect, in the way of experience. And so I feel that it was very tough for Ricky, and it just didn't work out in one way or another.
Well, there were some players in that squad in the, I think it was 98, 99, or maybe the 99-2000 season. There were some very good talents that went on to be very good players. But you're completely right. You need that experience, and that's sort of what Joe Kinnear did when he when he took over, and then you got that promotion.
Right.
Like, what was that Division 3 title? Well, it wasn't even a title win. Plymouth pipped you the final furlong, didn't they? But that was a great season, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's a fantastic season. I mean, again, he's sadly not with us no more, Joe. But like, like, a lot of people. I say he's like Marmite. Be like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. Do you know what I mean? And I love the fridge. We used to call him Joe, and it was like a case where it was just he didn't care. I mean, literally. And sometimes with someone like that. And a few players, for me, I can't believe he said that about. I said, look, don't take it personally. You got to think this is Joe. This is the fridge, right? It doesn't matter. It could have been me doing something or made a mistake or whatever. He would be saying exactly the same thing or caning me then and if it was you or me doing the same thing, he's not doing it because he's picking on you. That's one thing. I would say about he wouldn't. I don't think he would pick on someone. I think he would just be brash and be him and just cane you because obviously he just felt that obviously it wasn't good enough. You know.
Did he have any teachers' pets? Like was Jean-Louis Valois one of his teachers' pets?
To start off with, he was. I'd say he was 100%. When you're scoring goals from like 20, 25 yards, like, and maybe on 3 games on the trot. I mean, it's like it's hard not to be like a teacher's pet. But I mean, once the surface of the ground got a little bit more heavier and it wasn't as smooth. I mean, he started getting a little bit frustrated towards the end with him. But I mean, hence that's why I was coming on a lot of the time when he had moved Matthew Taylor up from left back to left midfield, and I'll come on that left back behind Matthew, and it would just be a case where we'll just go on from there. But apart from that, I'd say probably Chris Coyne was probably one of his favourites. Coyne probably got a laugh at that, but like Coyne, I can remember Coyne not really getting into too much hassle from many people, from Joe, the Joe Ralph. But like, I think Coyne would be one of his favourites, 100%.
That's amazing. And it's great that you mentioned that Jean-Louis Valois didn't play as soon as it got a bit wet. He's like baseball. As soon as it's raining, he doesn't play, does he?
No. And it's funny enough, and like Nico used to say, like, I mean, because he didn't defend. I mean, he'll try, you know what I mean, but he wasn't defend. And then like Nico would be like when things were great and it's like and like everything's going and he'll go, John Louis, well done, and John Louis going, yeah, great. And then when things were going a little bit like not so good, and Nico's like, John Louis, get your ass in here, like you need to be doing that, and like, you understand? Like he didn't understand all this. It wasn't he's speaking bloody French, and he didn't understand. But you know, it was funny. It was hilarious.
Oh, brilliant! That's absolutely sensational. So you took over from John Moore when you wrapped up your playing career. Like, did you work with John at first to like get the ropes?
The conversation was that. I mean, again, the fridge Joe was fantastic. He said to me, look, he called me into the office and said, you're not going to be a regular like starter, he said, but like what I would like if you're open to it, he goes, you got 2 choices. You can go and take your chances and go and find another club, or he said, I would like to bring you on the staff and bring you in with John Moore, sort of like being like an assistant and sort of like do maybe a year under him. And he said John's retiring like in a year's time, and then obviously that position will nicely become for you to start building and bringing players through. And so again, I thought about it, and again, I mean, with the injuries that you're getting and the age you are, and being at the club for so long, it just felt so natural just to accept that offer of being able to like, you know, do the full circle where I came in as a youngster and like David Coase and John Moore and those were the coaches bringing me through. It'd just be nice for me to sort of like help out and help bring players through. And so that was what I decided. I chose to stay at the club, and I was still on that final year, even when I was with John. He said, you know, just in case, should like, you know, we'll keep you on a contract, like pay as you play sort of thing on that side, just in case of emergencies, if we need obviously to bring you in. And that was basically my final. I think I might have just played, I don't know what, Stevenage or something. I played 2 games at Stevenage and against someone else in the some local game. I can't think what it was now, but like that was the natural progression where I stayed with John Moore. I didn't really practice or train with any teams. I was just like mirroring with what John was doing and just seeing how that was developing.
So do you remember what your last game was?
I'm going to say it's either Stevenage or Woking, is it? No?
Yeah, you got that right. Those were your final two games,
Yeah,
both wins, so 100% record there. They're both in the Football League trophy.
that's it.
Yeah, it was a 4-3 win against Stevenage. So we talked about your first starting lineup, who you were
Oh
playing
my
next to.
gosh.
Can you name?
Oh,
So you came on as a sub in this game. Can you
hold on, hold
name
on, hold
any
on.
of the players here?
I came on as a sub.
You
I don't
came on as
know.
a sub
One of the games. Did I start with any of those games?
against Woking. Yeah, you started against Woking.
Right. So, and then let's go to the Woking one. Was the Woking one first before the Stevenage one, or was it the Stevenage one before the Woking one?
The Woking game was your second last game.
Right.
Then
So the
Stevenage
Woking
was the
one,
final. Yeah.
I started, didn't I?
Yeah.
Did someone who come on for me? Was that Kevin Foley?
Yeah,
No,
so one of your kids from actually two of your kids from the
Liam
academy
Barnett.
came on.
Liam. I came on for Liam Barnett in one game, and then Kevin Foley came on for me, or was it the other way around?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do
Oh,
know that there were three youth team players that came on in that game. Kevin Foley came on, Leon Barnett and Paris Okai, who rest in peace, Paris.
yes. So
Um,
Kevin Foley came on for me in the Woking game, and I think in the first game, I came on for Liam Barnett. I think so. Yeah, that was it was really weird. Yeah, because obviously I mean was helping like work with these players, and so in my final year of that those are the players that I came on for. And Kevin chuckles at that.
it was good that you were playing with these kids as well, like some of the youth that you were overseeing. So that was Joe Deeney, James Osborne,
Yeah,
Matthew Judge was playing there, and Lee Mansell. So and there was a little bit of experience in the team. Like so, there was Mark Ovendale was in goal. Then there was Ian Hillier, Alan Kimball,
right.
Peter Holmes. Oh no, he was very young at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And then
Holmes was
Burko. And Burko
Burko.
was there. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was a very youthful team, but I guess like for the Football League trophy, that's sort of what you want, isn't it?
Yes,
But
of course.
yeah, and looking at your time as youth coach, so you worked under. Well, firstly, there were some insane talents. Like we spoke about a couple of them: Kev Foley, Leon Barnett, Curtis Davis.
Davis.
Some tremendous people. Even Keith Keane, who came
Keith Keane,
through a couple of years later. But how was it like seeing these players make it through and actually make an impact in the first team squad?
I mean, it was always that type of club where you wanted to like push players like into the first team who, and if they're given the opportunity, if you felt they were good enough, and that was the greatest thing I think about the club is that whoever the manager was, I mean, they weren't like adverse to not playing these kids, and so especially when Mike Newell came in, and I mean into the job as a manager, it was a case where I mean, I was there at the club with Newley when as a player, so it was, I knew him, and it was a case where he goes, I'm not interested in these FA Youth Cups or whatever. He goes, just tell me where the next player's coming. Who's the next player? Just tell me who the next player is and who's coming through. That's all I'm interested in. He said, and then which is great, because that's the way it should be, within the club. I mean, and so there was Curtis Davis, there was Liam Barnett, Kevin Foley. I mean, these players were like tremendous, and they got the opportunity, which was great because Newley loved that.
It's amazing. And then after Mike Newell came Kevin Blackwell, and you told a story on the Reddit AMA that we discussed off air prior about 4 or 5 years ago. You had quite a run in with Kevin Blackwell, didn't you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say it as a run-in. I mean, I get on with everyone. And again, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm blessed to have my parents who raised me is to like not to, to stand up for yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, I just felt, I mean, again, you can't be somewhere for I don't know how long it is. I don't want to argue with you. It was 22 years, whatever it was at the club, and you must be doing something right, but at some point, I'm not silly, it's going to come to an end because, someone at football clubs, a lot of the time it's people want to bring their own team in. So, I mean, it wasn't a problem for me if Kevin had come in and said to me, hey, look, I know you've been here a long time, but like nothing personally. I'm gonna be bringing someone in at the following year or whatever. Because I was already there, but he just had this way about him where he wanted to show people that he was like in control or whatever. And then I just didn't like. There's certain ways how you talk to people, and it was a case where I don't even know if I mentioned it in the book. I mean, I've mentioned the story to a couple of people where it's like he just said, "Look, I don't want these kids again. I don't want these kids, meaning the apprentices, here leaving like in the middle of the afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, doing whatever, just going." And I'm thinking, okay, right, I've been through it myself. I mean, it's not going to happen, but I just said, yeah, no problem, not a problem. I mean, we do stuff in the afternoon anyway, and so this particular afternoon, we'd been over to we had like a volleys gym which we used to go over and play like head tennis or volleys, and it helps so much with people's development and the touch. And so we had come back from there, and the boys were now getting the towels, this is probably about like 4 o'clock now. So I mean, by the time you do your jobs and clear up things again, it's going to be like 5:30. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like I'm in where the referees get changed normally in the corridor, and I can hear. He's not even seen me, by the way. He's like at the top of his voice, I thought I told you I wanted these kids. Like I thought I want these kids here, and I'm thinking, who's that? And I'm on the phone, and I'm thinking, who's he talking to? And then he's come walking up, and I look up, and he's like in front of the doors, like of the where the referee changed, and this is where the coaches get changed. And he went, and I'm on the phone. I went, hold on, I don't know who I told. I went, hold on, excuse me. I went, excuse me. He went, I thought loud as the hell, so everyone can hear. I thought I told you I wanted the. I went, I don't know. I went, hold on, I'll call you back. I went, who the effing hell are you talking to? And like that straight away. I just went, all right, okay, you're gonna talk to me. And he goes, I'm talking to you like that. He goes, well, don't effing talk to me like that. I'm gonna respond to you. You got a bit of respect. And he said, well, I'm looking at you to asking you a question, and you looking at me like you're looking down the end of your nose. I went, no, it's not that. I'm just talk to people with respect. If you talk to me like that, I'll talk to you like that. I've got no respect for you whatsoever if you're going to talk to me like that. And it's sort of like he started getting a little bit like, because I'm coming back at him now. He sort of like closed the door and sort of like, well, I mean, maybe we got off. I said, no. I said, not at all. I said, you've just come in ranting and raving, and I said, listen, it's fine. Listen, by the time those boys have done their job, I've been here, been doing this thing for the last year or so. I was a player here. I was an apprentice here. I said, I know how it works. I said, you don't leave in the building 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And he's like, oh, yeah. And I knew then that was me done. Do you know what I mean? Because again, most of the time, if you play ball and people think they can control it, but I didn't care. I mean, at the end of the day, I'd been there a long time, but for me, it was a case where I had to be me and stand up for myself and make sure that, I did right by me as a person. So, unfortunately, that year, that was the last of the year when I finished that season. That was the time when I left, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, you went on to other things. You managed St. Neots Town, and you moved to the US, and you're doing so many things now. Like you're doing wonderful things like coaching, in women's football as well. Like I think we discussed it maybe 4 years ago about your teams. I think you're out in Virginia, right?
Virginia, yeah, in Virginia, just about 20 minutes, 25 minutes outside DC. Very fortunate. I wanted to stay involved in the game. I worked in an office job for I think maybe a year and a half in between when I left Luton, because you still have to pay the bills. There wasn't obviously too much in the industry of the football game for me to get myself involved with. And then I just thought I really want to like still be involved in coaching and stuff. I'd obviously done my A license, B license, and I mean my playing background. So I mean it just made sense to try and put that to use in some way. And I felt, well, I mean, what about, I mean, if I can't do it in this country, what about going somewhere else? And I did have the opportunity to go to somewhere in, I think it was like Dubai or somewhere like the Middle East or somewhere. But like right back at the time then I was going through my first divorce, and it was a case where like the kids were young, and it was like, I mean, again, the money, was offered was good money, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I mean, what if I'm that far away? You know, I'm not going to be part of the kid's life, sort of thing. So, I mean, that was a case where that didn't happen. But I then realised that as the kids were getting older now, I mean, they were like spending less time with me. So, I mean, that was the time I thought, well, you know, I can now literally look to maybe go anywhere, and America was where that opportunity arose. And I was very fortunate. Like Virginia for me is very much similar to home. It has the 4 seasons, it has winter, it has spring, and the leaves fall off the. I mean, in some places in America you don't have that. You know, I mean, you just have like pure heat, constant heat, or it's like cold and there's not much of a summer. So being able to come here and I get the opportunity to coach here was a blessing, because, like I said, I mean, you have all the 4 different climates and the leaves falling off, and you have summer. Right now it's really, really hot here, which is great. And again, I got the opportunity to work with girls and boys. I mean, girls I'd never worked with before. So again, you're being put in outside your comfort zone now. I mean, and when I saw the girls play, I was blown away, like, because I was doing the same sort of sessions I was doing back in England with what I was doing with the boys and stuff. And so basically, you know, in my opinion, when I was here, it was like, wow, these girls are really, technically really, really good. And so it's no surprise. I mean, how successful the US women's were in the international stage.
Yeah, I watch a fair bit of Luton Town ladies playing. I remember the first time I watched them play, I was actually blown away about how technical they were.
Really?
Because, well, you get that sort of mindset where it's like, women's football, it's not going to be that good, is it?
Right.
But I was absolutely blown away. They were absolutely sensational.
Well, I remember even back then, I think when I was growing up, I used to watch the women. I think it was on Channel 4 or something like that. They had some, like, I mean, it's not as huge as it is now, but even back then, they had some unbelievable. I mean, English players. I mean, Hope Powell. I think she went on to manage the women. They had a girl like on the wing. I think played very much like Chris Waddle. I think what's her name? I think her name was Marianne Spacey or something like that. But some real like top players, like. You know, even back then, when the women's game is nowhere near as big as what it was now. But even back then, you know, you had some good players.
Yeah, it's great, and it's amazing like how the women's game is progressing. But let's talk about some of your other ventures then. So, your podcast. I absolutely love your podcast, and we were talking before about the fact that Andrew McMillan's already been on here, and I've told him what his score was. I've told you what his score was, so you know what you got to beat.
Right.
But so what's it like, you know, being a part of My Best 11 podcast? Because I know you're on hiatus at the moment while you're focusing on your other ventures. But who's the best guest you've had on?
Oh, my gosh.
I've heard you're trying to get Jean-Louis Valois on. He's hard to track down, isn't he?
He is hard to track down. I mean, we've had some fantastic guests on, and again, I'm always like still trying to like even like players that I haven't played with or players I've played against. I mean, I'm always trying to engage on Twitter with different people just to, you know, to see, because it's not for everyone. Some players who I've played with, like, you know, I've spoken with, I mean, it's just not for them. You know what I mean? Which is fine. But I feel that, I mean, like a couple, like, I mean, someone like who was it? Paul Telfer. Paul Telfer, played with Telfer, and like again, really, I think he would have been a perfect one because he was one of those ones who he just has so many different stories. He could have taken, he could have like, he wasn't that much into, if you're totally honest, into football. He wasn't that, but I mean, it was like, you know, a job. You know what I mean? Oh, I can get paid for it, but he was good at it, you know, and so he used to play like golf.
Yeah, he liked the golf, didn't he? We had Darren Sultan on
Yeah.
A couple of weeks back. And
Right, so he used to play golf before
Yeah.
games, in the like home games. Telf used to play like a round of golf in the morning if we're playing at home before golf. That's unheard of, absolutely ridiculous. And then he'll like, you know, you play the game, and I'm allowed to be talking about, oh, we're going to go out for the night. We'll have a few drinks. Yeah. Telf, you come in? He went, no. I'm gonna meet my mate. I'm gonna play squash. We've just played a game, right? And now he's gonna go and play freaking squash. This kid was like an absolute animal, so fit. He's going to play squash. It was just, and so he would have been someone perfect to come on the pod. But he said, no, it's not for me, Marv. I said, that's great, that's fine. I mean, Roy Wegley, I was another one. I speak to Roy every now and then. He comes across and he's just, it's just not for him. But these are the people who I think would have been, very, very good.
Yeah, and the pod is now on sort of hiatus, so you can focus on some other projects, but it will be back, right?
It will be back. We've recorded, like, we like to send out, like, put out, like, batches of, like, 60. So we've already got, like, I think 4 other guests done. So I'm still, like, circling around trying to get some other guests. So we want to make sure that we put them out back to back, like every 2 weeks sort of thing. So yeah, we've recorded a few, but like there's still some more in the work.
That's amazing. And talking about your other ventures, so you're writing a book. Is that just a look at your entire playing career as a one club man?
Yeah, again, I started it back in 2020, COVID, when everything, things get locked down and like you start writing, put pen to paper, and I had originally started it way back. This is before I even come to America back in 2020. I started writing something, but I scrapped that because like it didn't. If I would do something, Ollie, it needs to be organized. It needs to have some sort of structure for it to work. If it has no structure and there's no organization, it's just like you're just trying to, like I call it, winging it. Like you're just lagging it, sort of thing. And I don't want that. So I know it needed to have some structure. So when it come to COVID and I thought, right, okay, let me maybe see if I can start writing this book. And then I thought about it in a way that, okay, it's about my career, but obviously I want it to be about obviously everything, my life as well. Because when I've spoken to a couple of different publishers and different organizations, and it was a case, oh, why are you writing a book? And I said, oh, that's a good question. For me, there's 2 things. And one was that, everyone has a story. Even you would have a story. If you look back on your life now and you look how your life's gone, you also, everyone has, just because I've played football doesn't mean obviously like it's going to be a great, but everyone has a story, and everyone's like life tells a story. Without giving away, too much, how the book came up, it was like, I wrote down the chapters in my life, and I thought I divided it into 3 chapters, sort of like, not 3 chapters, 3 sections. It's like the first part, it starts as Marv, the apprentice. And so literally it starts from me as a kid moving from London to Aylesbury and talking about my family, my life, and then how I got into playing for the Sunday League team, and then how I got into Luton. And then once that sort of like talks about that first section of my like apprenticeship and my life, and I talk about the players and the boys and the different lads, and then it has Marv, the player. And then that starts about obviously in my professional career.
Don't give it all away, Marv. We want people to read this book.
There's loads of chapters. I'm not getting it right, but there's a flow to it, which which is good. And then the final bit is my time here now, obviously in America, Marv the coach. And so it all flows. But within those 3 different parts, there's like I think about 18, 19 different chapters. So, like I said, there's different stories about different things, and I'm going to find detail about some tough times, because everyone sees me as like always smiling, always happy, which I am. I mean, which I am. I mean, because I'm always a positive person. I don't want. I mean, my glass is always half full, you know, and so. I mean, I just feel that it's just nice if you're quite honest, and I've written the book where, I mean, there has been some times where there's been some like sad times in your life where like you feel that, you know, it's not always a bed of roses, you know. And so I just think if you just have, and you're honest and you show that vulnerability to people, it's just, you know, it might resonate with someone.
Yeah, very true. It could indeed. And as well, you got the clothing brand that you've booted up, Marvelous LLC. How that come about? What inspired you to do that?
I mean, I've always, even before, like probably when I left Luton, I was always thinking, oh, what can I do? There must be something I can do business-wise to set up my own sort of business. And so, again, there was different things. I mean, I can remember speaking with Nico, Kevin Nichols, Nick at the time, and saying, "Oh, do you know what? I think, you know, I could do something like with like celebrities' birthdays, and I have a video, and so like I could send a video like oh, someone's got a birthday, and you can come on, and I can get maybe so and so to say, hey, happy birthday message to someone like that. I had a camera, I had a tripod, I brought all this stuff, and it was just a case of like me thinking, oh, can I get the players or can I get different people to video and say happy birthday and then send a personal message? But that didn't work out. I couldn't get the format. But lo and behold, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of those things going on now where celebrities are saying happy birthdays to different people.
Oh, it's worked very well. It's a company called Cameo online.
Well, there you go then. So again, I mean, I just didn't know how to do it. But this is like way back. Like I said, when I left Luton, I was thinking about maybe that could be an idea. So I'm always thinking of ideas, Ollie. And so,
just imagine if Marv Johnson had invented Cameo.
I know, crazy. And so I'm always thinking of different things. And then again, being here in America, I'd met someone and got married, and then, I mean, it didn't work out, and so last year I got divorced for the second time just at Christmas. But like again, it's like it was just one of those things, you know. It just didn't work out. But like I'm not like a doom and gloom whatever. So I thought, okay, right, how can I turn this into a positive now? I can focus on something, and I thought, right, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to start something. And I kept seeing like stuff about e-commerce, online business, Shopify, and just stuff like that. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna put all my efforts into maybe doing an online business where I can maybe sell something or whatever. But I didn't know what or how I was gonna do, what I was gonna do. It started in March, so basically from Christmas last year. By the time I did everything and put everything in, I thought I could start in March, like by trying to opening and selling on online and stuff, and on platforms and stuff. And it was a case where I haven't put this down, obviously, I put it in the book, but I haven't put it on my website because I don't want people thinking I'm selling it for like to make money on the back of someone. I always want to help people, so I didn't want to just to be like, if I did like make a profit, I didn't want it to be a case where like it's just I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. I wanted it to be a cause, and so I thought I went online and I'm looking at different organisations, and I came across this one where it said Heart Gift, and I work with kids here coaching. So Heart Gift is an organisation which was founded in 2000 in Austin, in Texas, and they provide life-saving like heart like surgery to the kids all around the world who maybe like medical resources are a little bit scarce or non-existent, and so they're always looking for donations. So I thought, you know what, that's like a shape of a heart. So I thought that's what I'm going to do. I mean, if there's if there's any profits, I'm going to donate 10% every year from that to that organisation. So it's a way you're helping. I'm helping someone. I mean, it just doesn't make sense just to do something and then like you just get all the benefits. It's nicer to feel that you're helping a cause and something. And so that was it, really. Yeah, I mean, it took a long time. Hopefully, it's going to be worth it. I mean, like I said, I started in March, and I mean, look here, there, and everywhere. People have been buying like a T-shirt. They've been buying hats. They've been back like in the Christmas time. Winter it was hoodies, and so yeah. I mean, it's something which I'm really like invested in because I'm thinking I have to. People said, "Oh, where did I get that from? Can you send me one?" I went, "Oh, you can buy one. You can go online and buy it." I said, "I have to buy even everything I have. I buy. I go online and I'm buying." I said, "One of the things for me is that I buy a lot of stuff for myself because I want to make sure that the quality's there. I mean, and the smart thing is that it's worldwide and the how they set things up now for people to be, in my opinion, successful. It is a lot easier if you put the work in. Like for example, if someone wanted to buy one in UK or America or Africa or Asia, basically when you go in online into the shop and you put in your address for the delivery, there's so many different warehouses around the world now. These people have that they take the nearest like postcode to the industry where their factory is, and they send you the product. So literally, where sometimes that was one of the biggest worries for me was, oh, is it going to be like 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks for it to get there? That's not going to be great. I mean, it needs to be you have to take time. Obviously, when you put your order in the print on demand, it's going to be like got to be printed on and stuff. But once that's done, 7 days, 7 to 10 days, bang, it's there. It's on your doorstep, which I think is huge in this day and age to get obviously something you order.
I ordered a shirt. It's going to take 3 to 4 weeks, but it sounds marvelous, Marv. It really does. But Marv, are you ready to play some Hatter or Lower?
Yep, I'm ready.
Yeah. Even if you don't beat 8, you still just got to keep going, okay?
Oh, listen, I will always keep going no matter what.
Yeah, top man. Right, I'm going to explain the rules now. Hatter or Lower is powered by Hatter's Heritage, a website that does the important job of preserving the history of our club. They always need volunteers and patrons. You can check them out at hattersheritage.co.uk or get in touch by Googling Hatter's Heritage. And that's exactly what Will from Luton Facts and Figures has done to get the names and appearance totals for 20 Hatters. I then ask, who play more, player A or player B? The contender then has to guess who made more appearances for the Hatters and try and get as high up on our leaderboard as possible. It's now time to play Hatter or Lower, and this week's contender is Luton legend Marv Johnson. How are the nerves?
I'm good. I mean, yeah. I've listened to the rules. I'm thinking, come on, I'm going to focus.
Okay, they start easy, they get harder.
Right.
All right. Here we go. First question. Who played more, Julian James or David Priest?
David Priest.
Correct! Off to a running start. Julian James played 335 times for Luton Town. David Priest, 395.
You said that was easy.
They're both that was easy.
It wasn't easy. Oh my God. The only reason I know that is because Minnie's in the top 10, isn't he, of all-time appearances, I think?
No, not anymore. No.
Oh, is he not? Oh, gosh. That's the only reason I knew. Oh, okay. All right.
Post-war he is. Post-war David Priest is in the top 10. Right, next up. Who played more, Kerry Hughes or Kingsley Black? These are the easy ones, Marv.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kerry Hughes.
Correct! Kerry Hughes played 205 times for Luton Town. Kingsley Black, 156.
That's only 50. That's only like 55 or what? That's not easy, Ollie. That's cruel.
Okay, you're gonna hate where these are going then.
I'm thinking. I knew Kingsley left, but I'm thinking. Oh gosh, go on.
Trust your instincts.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Oh, by the way, when I did this, I got 0 out of 10 on my hash roll like this. So don't worry. You're already beating me. Who played more? Andrew Fotiadis or Mark Steen?
Has to be Mark Steen. 100%.
Incorrect. Andrew Fotiadis played 146 times for Luton Town. Mark Steen, 107.
Oh my gosh. Fotty played how many?
146.
Bloody hell. The kid was
How?
good. What the hell?
Yeah, I know. It was a lot of substitute appearances.
Right.
Who played more? Terry Dixon or Liam George?
Liam George.
Correct!
Yes.
Terry Dixon played 88 times for Luton Town. Liam George, 124.
Good. That's 3.
Yeah. Right. Who played more? Nathan Abbey or Andy Dibble?
I'm going to say Nathan Abbey.
Correct! Nathan Abbey played 68 times for Luton Town. Andy Dibble, 39. Everyone feels, because Dibble was there for the 88 Cup win, everyone feels that he played a lot more than he actually did.
Yeah. I thought that, yeah.
Right. Who played more? Richard Harvey or Steve Davis?
I'm gonna go for Richie Harvey.
Correct. Richard Harvey played 192 times for Luton Town. Steve Davis, 173.
That's close, isn't it? See?
They're getting closer. Getting closer. Who played more? Darren Patterson or Gary Doherty?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to. I'll just change it there. I'm gonna go for Darren Patterson.
Incorrect. Darren Patterson played 69 times for Luton Town. Gary Doherty, 83.
Oh, I was gonna say Dozza.
Right. 2 more questions. You got this. Who played more? Scott Oakes or Tony Thorpe?
Thorpe.
Incorrect. Scott Oakes played 200 times for Luton Town. Tony Thorpe, 192. Here we go. Last question to get you into the top half of the table. Who played more? Dean Crowe or Ian Dowie?
The last 2 I've gone for. I'm smart. I'm not saying it yet. Hold on, Ollie.
There's actually one more question as well that I managed to miss. So we'll go back round. So you're going to get a nice, easy last question.
Dean. I would go out and say, I think it has to be Dean Crowe, but no, I'm gonna go with Ian Dowie.
Trust your instincts, Marv.
Ian Dowie.
Incorrect. Dean Crowe played 79 times for Luton Town. Ian Dowie, 78.
I trusted my instinct the last 2 times. I got the damn thing wrong.
Okay, here's a nice, easy one to finish with, okay? Who played more? Danny Wilson or Jason Reese?
Danny Wilson.
Correct!
Yeah.
Danny Wilson played 142 times for Luton Town. Jason Reese, 96.
So how many I get? 7 or 6?
You got 6.
6.
6 out of 10. That puts you above such people like Simon Oxley, club historian Roger Wash, who got 5 out of 10.
What? Oh my
It puts
God.
you level with David Wilkinson, Nick Owen, Lars Elstrup. Some good names to be there.
Has Lars been on?
Yeah, Lars was on last week.
Was he? How is he?
He's doing well. He's doing very well.
Lars, oh my God. He's not in no cult thing then, is he, or not?
No, not anymore. I'll put you two in touch. Don't you worry.
Yeah, because it's strange. I mentioned him in the book, and I just said like, what a great guy he was. Really top guy. And it's like I said. I knew that he had drawn some cult thing, and I said it's weird. It's weird. And I just said I hope he's all right. Whatever he's doing and what he's doing now. But yeah, Lars. Who's top then? Who's
So top, we have 2 people joint top. That's Simon Pitts and Steve Moore, both with 9 out of 10.
Wow.
It's a very congested, tough leaderboard.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
You can always come back on and have another crack at it, Marv. Thank you very much for your time today.
I've enjoyed it, Ollie. Thank you. No, thank you for having me. No, it's been great.
Top man.
Thank you.
Man. And if anyone enjoyed the Walk Pod, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Have a wonderful day.